Hello, viewers. Welcome to my channel, Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about no one owns any goddamn thing. And that includes that 1% that we think owns everything. I'll dive deep into that part. So basically, it's an exploration of that meme, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Of course, that's a meme, but let's dive deep into it. So what does quote unquote owning means here? So owning simply means why does that matter? That's the first thing. Well, if you own something, you give a damn about it. If you do not own it, you do not give a damn about it. It's not worth your attention. So basically everything, fundamentally speaking, has a certain cost to your psyche. If it's a car that everybody is using, you can't bother to give it too much damn. It's your car. Heck, even a scratch you will know. So it's one of those things that there is a fundamental benefit of having ownership. If you have ownership over something, you give a damn about it. And we would like humanity to give a damn about things that we utilize. Otherwise, too much waste will be created. So that's there. And this is why we work. We work so we can earn money, so we can own things. As simple as that. Now, we generally save money, invest and all that is just basically a offshoot of saving money. So we can buy bigger items. For example, car, house, education, healthcare, safety, things of this nature. Now, this is the primary reason why we work. Like, why does humanity wake up in the morning at 25 years old, go to work and keep doing the same thing till 65 years old? And that's assuming you can manage a retirement at that point in time. Most people will not. So why? Why do we do that? Why do we go through that much rigor for that long of a duration? Ownership. The more you own, the like it justifies it. Basically, that suffering that you are dealing today gives you something tomorrow. Now, is this perfect? Hell no. But there is a very good quote and very good real world example. Is like freedom has many difficulty and democracy is not perfect. But we never had to put up walls to keep our people in. And to understand this, a lot of people criticize capitalism, which is a good thing. Awesome. GG. Although it scares me to the no end is that how many young people, meaning below 20 or even like below 25, which is really starting to scare me, is like thinking capitalism is the worst, communism is best. It's like, think it this way. Let's say you are an individual who does not know anything about Korea or Korean history. And I give you a reality of like, okay, this is North Korea, this is South Korea. How do you figure out which country is the better country without any intervention, without any bias or without any Western propaganda? How would you do that? Very simple. You figure out what it takes to get in and what it takes to get out, and what a citizen can do and cannot do. For example, in North Korea, can you migrate there? Can you get out of there? Can the citizen, leave the country? Yes or no? And there you will have your answer. And same happened. We had this brain damage of communism. People built that communism, and the output what is was such a living hell. Because again, ownership was not there. Nobody gave a damn about anything. They had technology, they had machines, they had everything. It's just that no ownership. So nobody gave a damn. Everything rotted to such a point, they literally had to make a prison. Nobody would willingly live into that. And that's why, like, it genuinely scares me. And like, I used to think, oh, Indians are so, like, well educated, we know enough about these things. Yeah, I'm starting to doubt Indian education system now, that way too many Indians are saying, communism. It's like, we literally North Korea is right there, Venezuela is right there, you can go. So, and this happened, like, again, we were partner with Soviet Union. We literally saw it fall apart, not by a war, not by anything, because of their own stupidity. And people are, communism is awesome. So that's why ownership matters. Now, capitalism is not perfect, ownership is not perfect, but far better than anything else we have tried so far. So that's why ownership is a good thing. You want people to give a damn about things, and this also allows people to push themselves from 25 to 65. So that's why owning is like your first car, your first home, whatever have you. So what's happening right now? Now, if you know anything about anything today, you know for a fact that 99 percentile of humanity is not in a good position. There are around 200 countries, and this applies to all of them. All of them. So how the heck this got this bad? Well, there are three components to it. I do not know the ratio, but I know these three things played a role into it. First is stupid mismanagement, where people are like, dude, if you do this, this is like a short-term fix with long-term consequences. People did it. And voila, now the consequences are coming home to roost. Then you have raw stupidity, like, children say, communism. It's like, you're gonna starve to death. That's stupid. And then we have the most scary part, hate. Like, there are laws, there are what you call things put into motion that sole purpose was just to destroy things. And I am scared how many of these things I'm finding in constitutions of all those countries that I'm looking into. Like, it's scary. It's like, you passed a law to do what? So all these three things considered. And yes, it also had in South Africa where they passed a law. It's like, your competency, your capability, F that. Are you loyal to the police? Not police, as in like the political party. And you're like, wait, that sounds like dictatorship. Yeah, they did that in a democracy. So yes, there was hate, there is stupidity, and there is mismanagement. All these three things went into a pot and destroyed the economy as we stand today. And most of us who are born in from 1990 to 2000, in that slot, I'm in that slot, likelihood of us owning home as in you buy the land and you build a home on it. Flat does not count. Flat is just renting with extra steps. So, and we went with, I am genuinely shocked how few people actually know that flats have expiry date. Like, there, I can guarantee you, all the 18-page document, there is one page that will say that, like, engineering firms have to periodically validate it. Like, same way you build a bridge, engineering have to validate it. It's not gonna last there forever. Many times we hopefully decommission it before it breaks. And same goes with construction, large construction. We never used to do it. We do not have the history of doing large construction project of this caliber, like 500 years ago. So we know, like, oh, it will only last 150. Many of them are new. And I did had a friend, so to say. So he was in Gujarat, Surat, and he had that issue where, like, his family bought a basically apartment and that building was like expired. So things happen like this. So all the things you're like, oh, I'm buying a flat. It's like, yeah, you are just doing renting with extra steps. It many times is flat out not viable, because again, you are also compromising your freedom. Now you are stuck to that place. You cannot move. So again, that's what, when I'm talking about home, I mean like what my father did. He bought a place and then he built a house. This house is built by him. So the likelihood of my generation from 1990 to 2000, or Gen Z, I think it's called, doing that is negligible. And you're like, we do not have that much land. Trust me, we got it. More than enough land. More than enough. It's just that cost of everything is like beyond stupid. And people who are born in 2010, that's almost 14 years ago. Damn, I'm old. Even a car, just flat out, I dump money down, I get a car, even that is very unlikely. So flat out, this is bad. And this is not only bad for you, may like, oh, lazy people, dumb people, or all that. Again, that's cool and all if you want to think that way, but here's the deal. People who have proper education, as in like whatever educational metric you can come up with, be it doctor, be it engineer, be it scientist, all of them are suffering. And with a job, not like, oh, they did it but they did not cut it in the job market. No, they have jobs. They are getting promotion. Still not. Why? Here's a graph from 2000 to 2024. So the reality of consumer price index, it's going up. Now it's bad. It's going up this much, this quickly. Let that be very clear. Inflation was always there, but it never like turbocharged. Like if you really want to freak yourself out, if you don't do it. But look at the jump that happened from 2010 to 2020. It's a slow rise. From 2020 to 2024, it's like, it's almost like it literally flew up. So from here to here, the jump is like ludicrously fast, ludicrously quickly, and this is breaking people's back. Even if you have a job, your wages did not grow to compensate for it. And inflation on everything went bonkers. On top of that, housing market went cocaine. So it's like, so this went up 2, 3, 5x and quickly, this went 15x. It's like, what the hell? So fundamentally, people are stuck in a scenario, even though when they are very good, like again, young people will not be very good with money. That's supposed to be the case. That's supposed to be reality. It's not like back in our day, we were very good with money. No, you were not. You also went through hell, then you fixed it, then you got yourselves together, and then you worked. Everybody has to do that. It's like you're born and you have to figure out how to do investment. Yeah, that's not viable. That's the meme right now, the meme from this generation, the people who born in 2010s. It's like, oh, I was like, in 2008, I was like, 8 years old, rather than like, buying a housing market. So same thing is happening. The cost of things are going so exponentially high that this is a price chart change, basically change it from X to how much X it went. So if you look in television, that actually went down. And yes, this TV is very expensive. Now, if I spend the same amount of money or less money, I can get higher quality TV. So yeah, TV went down. Toys, software, cell phone services, clothes are actually good. Now you start to go up. Housing furnitures, they are not growing. I will explain that further. And new cars, not growing. People are barely buying it. And then housing. Okay. Food and beverages. Yeah, that's the problem part. And food, I mean grain prices are growing up. Like, you're like, oh, don't buy outside. Cool, bro. Sugar prices are going up. Tomato is expensive in India. And again, cottage cheese, paneer, like, which I like, it's expensive. And I'm not like, 70 years old. Back in when I was young, it was like, 22 rupees. Now it's 150. I was 10 years old and I am 32 years old. It's already jumped that much. So food and average, childcare is so expensive. It's no point having children. You're gonna be bankrupt and you're gonna be homeless. Yes, mathematically, that's how bad it is. Zero, 100x basically. X variable is one too much. Medical healthcare service, yeah, you better be dead. And college textbook prices, I do not know whether those books makes you, Steve Jobs or like Einstein. The prices are high. College tuition, lol. Hospital services, yeah, you better dead. So this is happening. This is, and again, from 2000 to 2020 is bad, and 2020 to 2024 is scary bad. So fundamentally, 99 percentile, basically their back is broken. Fundamentally, you were like, oh, I'm like, performing and all that. I know this situation is bad for people who migrated from India, getting a good job. And yes, I'm in touch with them. And yeah, it's not sunshine and rainbows. Back in like, this same era, 1990s, if you had done that, you'll be like, brah. Now you're like, damn, it's expensive. So fundamentally, inflation has went stupid and housing prices has went lol. And you will like, who is buying that? Well, nobody. It's just black money washing things. Like, to go to people who are actually living in New York, it's like, yeah, this apartment is like $8 billion. It's like, what the hell? Who is living in there? Nobody. It's just Chinese black money being washed there. That's literally what is like. If you ever wonder who the hell is living in like, these apartments that are like hundreds of millions of dollars. Yes, there are apartments that are that expensive. I did not even knew that's even thermodynamically viable, but it is. And that's another reason why the heck housing crises are like going so exponentially higher, and why that, market crash that's supposed to happen is not happening, because it's getting pushed because of black market money. It's like the amount of money. It's like, I'm not joking. Like when I was in Bangalore as a 3D game artist, we used to listen to FM when I was in, riding on a bus. FM was saying, affordable homes at Kurmangla at 2.5 crore. That number has so many zeros, it's not even worth translating. Like, it's just stupid. And that was like, years ago, 7 years ago. So reality is, it's bad. For 99 percentile, they're broke. Like, they are broke. Even if they are working their ass off, making money, they are getting poorer and faster. And again, homes are just like not happening. And again, for younger people, even car is like, yeah, likelihood of that happening. Because again, food is getting more expensive. Let that be very clear. Food is getting expensive. You need food. And I'm talking about raw grains. Raw grains. And even if you cook yourself, you just can't. The groceries are expensive. So fundamentally, it's bad. It's just bad. So we know, everybody knows at this point in time, people who are born in this sort of time frame, they know they own nothing. Okay. Now, what about that 1 percentile? Ironically, even they do not. Like, for example, CEOs, right? Everybody visualizes, if I were a CEO, that would be awesome. Here's the deal. Only few CEOs are competent enough in terms of economics business, not in terms of making a company. They're good at that. That's why they are CEOs. It's just that, are they good enough where they can basically create a financial structure and bylaws, I think it's called, where they are like, I'm on the top, I will be on the top. Very few can do that. To give you a context, Steve Jobs, whether you like it or hate him, I hate him, but again, I do respect him. That dude knows how to run a business. Yeah, his company kicked him out. Yes, you heard it right. Apple kicked Steve Jobs out. That happens way too often. They don't own anything. The CEOs, you will think they own the goddamn company they built. No, they do not. The board of directors, and once you open it to stock market, unless you do it very precisely, very right, like how Zhesheng Huang did that of NVIDIA CEO, very few CEOs are of that caliber who like not only know what their business is, but also write the bylaws and the protocols in such a way that they cannot be overruled. Very few, like very few. And I think another one, popular one is this Mark Zuckerberg. Like, from a business sense point of view, he knew what he was doing, so he did not expose him. Like, who did not knew? Google. Like, these are Google CEOs. Like, Google founder, poofed. They were poofed out of their own Google. Same happened with Cisco. They were poofed out of their own company. So they don't own the goddamn company they built. And here's the deal. By the time a company goes to second CEO, third CEO, yeah, they are not CEO at that point in time. They are not chief executive operation. They are a guy whose job is, line must go up. This is their job, nothing else. They do not care. They do not give a damn. They do not own it. If they ever sat down, it's like, hey, let's invest into this. This is going to pay dividends. Yeah, no, they will be poofed out of there. And trust me, this happened with Intel. Many times companies were like, hey, let me plant some seeds here so it will grow in future. Lol, you forgot your job. Your job, line go up. I do not care. If line go down, you go down with it. This is happening. Real life, every country, every continent. This is reality. And be mindful. Ironically, this is a feedback loop which applies to board of directors, investors, banks. All of them are focused on this one thing. Line must go up. Ironically, this removes the ownership from them. Like they no longer like, I am the CEO of this company. Let me invest into this. Let me make this company even great. Then rather than just making a salary right now, what if I make salary for hundreds of years for my generation, like, children, all that children. That cannot be done anymore. Because again, if even for a small dip happens, poof, gone. Like for example, everybody is like, oh, Google does not have an AI product. You know who had AI product in Google? These people. All the paperwork of tensor calculations and like surprisingly large amount of neural and network calculation, they were already ahead on it. But because it was an investment, they were dumping money into that part of it. And again, self-driving car also, they were putting money that if they have kept crunching, they would have been at least 5 years ahead of the market or 10 years ahead of the market. But it required that dumping period, where it's like, putting fertilizer on, investing time basically. But like, line does not go up, you must go down. So they went down and they replaced with someone, cut the cost, line went up. So ironically, even though people who are CEOs, executives, they don't own it. Like that's the shocking part. Like there is a recent interview of a Boeing CEO, not CEO, like some very serious individual, very executive class, and they're like, okay, what is your salary increase? It's like, yeah, that's in last 5 years. I have to get back to you. They were shy about it. It was like, what is the salary increase of the workers who are actually working? Now, generally, as a goodwill gesture, is suggested that if inflation is happening and your company is profitable, you should increase it to match inflation at least. So, for example, if national inflation is 6%, and be mindful, real inflation would be higher than that, but at least as a goodwill gesture, you increase everyone's salary by that much percentage. They did not. Basically, if you were working in Boeing, you were actually growing poorer. Let that sink in. You are getting poorer compared to working anywhere else. And they asked like, it's 1.5% price hike over, I think, 10 years or something like that. And it's like, what is yours? It's like 25%. Why did he do that? Because yes, he was not secure in that job. His job was not like, let's fix Boeing. It was just like, line must go up. Like there is another CEO before that is like, line is not going, line is going down, and his people were firing with missile up his ass. It's like, line is going down, I'm going to blow you up. So it's like, okay, hear me out. This is awesome. What if we removed all the safety people? Money saved. This actually happened. Not even joking. Safety inspector? What is safety inspector? Who needs a safety inspector? Safety is just a culture, man. Smoke weed, man. Safety. Who needs a safety? Who needs to figure out whether the bolts are locked or not? Happened. Real life. And remember, the same thing happens on train, planes, F-22, whatever have you. So this whole reality focus on that line must go up, it destroys people's mind so much that they are no longer even thinking in years, not even 1 year, only quarter. So you must have seen this example recently. People are firing. Okay, so you have a company that has a certain level of operational expense, right? It is going to cost some money, and market is not steady, right? Market has its ups and downs. It's like a wave. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Market goes down, but the line must go up. How do you make sure the line goes up? You fire people. You just fire a boatload of people. I'm like, and anybody who knows about the company, who owns the company, will be like, bro, if I fire this many people, I break the homeostasis of the company. Homeostasis simply means people, many times, especially the competent people, they're not working for money, because again, they can get it anywhere. They are enjoying it, only then they will work. So if you piss them off, like there are 80% of workers you can easily replace. That 20%, if they walk away, your company goes to dust. You do not piss them off. And you're like, does that mean we have to overpay for this? Yeah, welcome to life. And again, every company has this 80-20%, 70-30%, whatever have you. But every company has that, where you can lay off some people without too much hassle. And again, generally, a company does do trimming, but it has to be very methodic, very what you call gentle, very precise. It has to be a scalpel, whereas like, no, this people was not performing, this person was like doing this. Like it has to be a genuine thing. No problem. Nobody gives a damn if it's a genuine and like 1 or 2 people going. But if you start to poofing hundreds of people, yeah, company goes poof. But again, then why the heck these companies are not suffering the effect? They are. But in that quarter, line must go up. And that's why you must have paid attention. Every layoff is announcement, the line must go up. Watch these two things together, and then you will understand why everybody is so miserable now. Like literally, the firing decisions are just made just for the quarter. They know for fact that if they thought about it, it's like, dude, this is gonna hurt the company far more than it's gonna help. But they have to do it because line must go up. So they no longer have the ownership. They cannot be like how Nvidia treats its employees. Nvidia is surprisingly generous, far more generous than Apple. It's like, bro, we got you, fam. We can ride through some ups and downs. And now they're so. And consequence of that, no long-term ethics. No ethics is what is ethics? Long-term, what is long-term? Brand, what is brand? That's why like these people are doing a job, even though they have quote unquote the brand of a CEO. They are not CEO. They don't own it. They are just a job doing person. Line must go up. And consequence of this, we are stuck in a vicious loop where everything is suffering from this. It's not just like Boeing. Boeing is an easy example. Every company, corporation, every goddamn thing on this planet is suffering from this. So we are actively destroying trust of things, meaning you cannot even trust your refrigerator at this point in time anymore. So that 1%er, you may be like thinking, oh, they're thinking low. Not that much. They no longer have ownership. And the moment they lose ownership, they lose what you call the passion to it. And the moment they lose passion, it's no longer like let's plant seed that will grow into something awesome. It's just like milk as much money as I can milk, and then I'm gonna be out of here. So this sounds pretty bad. Now question is, why it is this bad? Well, because of the failure of the daddy unit, which is family unit. So we have been through tough times, right? Like if you study human history for last 10,000 years, you're like, bro, what we are going through is minor inconvenience at best. We've been through wars, multiple wars. And be mindful, many times we have exaggerate war as in like, oh, World War was the real war. No. If you're dying in a regional war and dying by sword and shields, you're still dying. It does not matter whether you're dying by sword and shield or dying by a nuclear boom. You're still dying. Okay, you only have one life. Dying by a sword wound or dying with a 50 caliber does not make a difference. You're dead. You lost your time. So we've been through this. So do not glorify like, oh, this is the real war. No. And again, even if you glorify, we've been there, done that. So wars, we've been there, done that. Famine is like, oh, food prices are high. Bruh, famine. Like as an Indian, like we had 22 famines in just last few years of, British Raj. So we good. Plagues. Oh, pandemic. It's like, bruh, have you seen plagues? Like my mom and dad is old enough where in radios and in televisions, again, very early days, this was a common announcement. Like, please do not go to this village. This village is poofed. Yeah, poofed. Done. They had a breakout and done. Whole way. Vaccines took time to spread around the world. It took quite some time. So there was a time before that, and people are alive who knew before that time. So plagues, we got this. Natural disaster, or global natural disaster. Like, bro, we had floods, wildfires, everything that you can think of had happened to humanity, and we good, bro. So what is different between that time and right now, modern time versus back in that day? Basically, before World War II and after World War II. So basically, never, ever, we ever had a scenario where whole humanity was at risk. Never. Not even nukes. And again, we crossed through that bridge. So in principle, nukes could have destroyed it, but we knew for a fact that it's not gonna happen. However, this is the first time where whole of humanity, as in like there are 200 countries, 194, 198, whatever you want to believe, but I'm just going to count 200 is easier. 200 countries, 150 countries are going extinct. Done, past tense. So how the heck that happened? How the heck a species that is so resilient, war, famine, plagues, natural disasters, like, bruh, who gives a damn? And like we recovered so quickly from it. It's like we recovered from World War I so quickly. It's like, yeah, let's do another one. World War II, we were like, okay, let's recharge for a bit. So how the heck that happened? Well, here's it. The vicious attack on family unit, specifically marriage. So marriage was, there was people who were wise back in old days. They were wise. They have a very simple idea of like marriage is what we call a mutually beneficial agreement, meaning I scratch your back, you scratch my back. However, in just after World War II, there has been a push, and this push has been in 150 countries, where it's like, what if marriage is not mutually beneficial? What if women are exploited, women are slaves, and like whatever you want to think. Like, but here's the deal. Because we do not think from here, we think from here. More than enough men agreed to it, and nobody was like, wait a minute, if that is true, like say in India we have arranged marriage, and that means at some point in time, a mother asked her daughter to get married. Now here's the deal. You were like male gene, male gene line is just bad, man equal evil. No problem. Cool. Awesome. GG. What does that make that woman? But here's the deal. Or what if, hear me out. What if she knows for a fact that it's a freaking mutually beneficial agreement? It's like you will lose something, but you will gain something. You will suffer, but it will be worth it. Now this comes to the most core aspect of humanity. Ask any religion, any culture, any guru, whatever have you. Life is suffering. If anyone tells you otherwise, run. Life is suffering. Question is it worth it or not? That's the only question you have to ask. That's the only question that matters. Everything else is irrelevant. So we had this mutually beneficial agreement, and both parties had to suffer. Man had to suffer in their unique way. Women had to suffer in their unique way. But somebody 60 years ago, in case of India, 1984, somebody took a nuke and dropped there. Basically, we've broken this agreement. Mutually beneficial agreement was destroyed, and now we have exploitative agreement. Yeah, basically you signed death warrant on family unit. The moment that was done, you died. You died. Like the moment that law was passed, you're like, okay, that does not happen very quickly. Yeah, of course it does not happen quickly. As long as you define quickly less than 90 years. That's how long it will take. After you implement that law in Japan, how long before Japan disappears, how long you apply that law in North Korea, how long before it disappears, how long you apply it in India, how long Hindus disappear, 90 years. 3 generations basically. Each generation is 30 years. 3 generations, poof, done, dead. So that was done. The moment this mutual agreement was broken, all marriages started to fail. Again, different places had different rate of failure. Some started to fail very quickly. Some started to slowly fail. Then blah, 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 blah. Right now, India's failure rate is horrifyingly high. Now again, because of the pain of it, we start to delude ourselves as like, oh, it's 1%. No, we crossed that threshold long ago. Now again, here's the deal. Do not listen to anyone. Me, do not listen to me. News channel, do not listen to them. Lawyers, do not listen to them. So who do you listen to? People who have authority to destroy your life. Go to family court near you, anywhere, in 150 country. Take a pick. I dare you. India's current average is 3 to 5, cases per day, per district. That's average. Go to family court near you. So the moment this started to happen, basically, it almost like became a vicious cycle where it was like, oh, dowry system. So now we are becoming, it's like, so I was bad and your solution is that you're going to become worse than me. So all you are doing is justifying my bad. And be mindful, dowry system, again, that goes back to the same question. It's like, why the heck women were doing this? But benefit is, if they did not give dowry, they had to marry to someone of their own level. That will not be acceptable. I needed to be treated as princess. Like, a sarkari job, like government jobs, they are very lucrative for poor people. And again, if you want to jump to our level, you have to be at that level. Consequence, that is a financial burden. So there was always a trade-off. We knew this. We as a civilization, as a country, as a culture, we knew this. It was like, hey, you give this, you get this. Like there is a benefit to it. Now there was another aspect to it. What if it does not work out, right? That's life. We knew this could happen. And we had the idea of reincarnation. The idea with reincarnation is that sometimes you are paying off your past sins debt. Basically, you had a debt, now you're paying it off. So sometimes you do everything right and you still suffer. You just expect it as a debt, whereas like, I'm paying off debt. Next life would be awesome. And we had to do it. Now, like, it sounds like a wishy-washy, but you have to do it. And again, ask anyone who has lived long enough. They will tell you life is not sunshine and rainbow. It has just misery and suffering. And again, you need to have something greater than yourself in order to endure it. That's how we solved that issue. But again, in 1984, India decided to nuke this agreement, and we died. Again, you have to calculate 90 years from that point, then we'll become minorities in India. So it's a slow process. So again, slow process, you withdraw. The moment this started to happen, the end. The moment this happened, the moment France passed a law that you cannot do DNA testing on your own child, they died. And again, look into the whole of Europe, same thing. So life is suffering. So we are still suffering, but here's the deal. It's now worthless. That's why people feel so hopeless now. There is no reason for suffering. It's like, oh, I work my ass off to have a family and all that. Then my wife is like, yeah, family court, give me money, take money. And this is happening so much, so often, that's not even newsworthy anymore. It's boring. Like the newsworthy article right now, there is one woman who did it 9 times. That's the news now. It's like, whoa. Too much, man. Too much. So, and basically what did we do here? Like again, were those people trying to do something bad? Yes and no. I'm talking yes simply because they should have known better, and we did what we call Road to hell is paved by good intentions. They had good intentions. So what did they do? They basically, to save a few, they sacrificed many. So because again, women suffering is so rare. That's why it's in news. Let that be very clear. So like, oh, woman beating and all that. The fact that you know about this, because it's not normal, because it's not happens every day. It's not normal. Like we have one incident recently when I'm making this video, and whole country is up and arm about it. Why? Because it's unacceptable. It's not normal. Like it does happen. Again, human psychology does have this failure where it's like, oh, one bad incident happens, like how this could happen. That's a good thing. That's a good thing that you are freaking about that, because there are countries like Guyana and other countries in Africa where it's like, that is like Tuesday, bro. That's like Tuesday morning, bro. Done. Oh, another case, Thursday morning. That's reality for many countries. We are so solid, so certified, so safe that even this is like, whoa, this should not happen. And that's a good thing. I'm happy about that. But if you take that sword, like the fact that somebody will always suffer, let that be very clear. You cannot have a world where it's like zero suffering. But instead of accepting it, just like that's a penalty of life, it's like, what if we save them? It's like, sir, the weapon that you are making to save that will destroy everything around you. But what if it did that? That was done in India. Again, I know India because again, I have to go to court every day. Not every day, like monthly. Next date is tomorrow. So I know for a fact. That's why. Do not trust me. Do not listen to any goddamn one. Go to family court near you. And this, I love this poster. It's like, family court is the organized crime. And they profit, children lose, which is factually true. While women may think like she is winning from 0 to 30 phase. 32, and especially God help her, like if they place this dice after 40, it's not as encouraging. Money helps, but it has upper limits. You do not want to find yourself there where money no longer helps. So family unit was destroyed. So again, that's why I never could figure out why people are breaking so easily now. It's just that there is no family unit, so suffering is now worthless. So what did we create with all this delusion and stupidity? Well, we created what we call inverted pyramid, meaning this. So you have, in Hindi, we call it Nana Nani and Dadi Dada. So granddads, basically, granddad and grandmoms from the male side and the female side, and they have one kid. This is what we call inverted pyramid, meaning you die. Japan already crossed this long ago. That's what, this will take 30 years, this will take 30 years, this will take 30 years, and then you'll be poofed. And you're like, wouldn't they make it? Yeah, they will make it, but you are halving your population every 30 years. The rate does not matter whether you start with 1 billion people or 10 billion people. The halving of it is very quick, like 90 years, and you reach what we call critical mass failure, meaning you no longer have mass production of enough masses to get anything done. So what does this lead to? This inverted pyramid is happening because one person tried taking actions that has no tomorrow. Fundamentally, like how the heck that Boeing CEO decided that? And be mindful, Boeing I'm talking about because it's obvious, but other people also have made that decision. Where it's like, I'm going to take this much money while I'm making millions of dollars, not million, billions of dollars, and I'm not going to give anything for these people who are literally providing me money. I'm not going to give them this. Like, they are literally making decision that has no tomorrow. If you keep doing this, the company goes under. But company goes under, you do not go under, you eat out of there. Bankruptcy, you eat out of there. So, and another delusion that people have, like, assets have like no upper limit. Like, yes, assets have a Nifty 50 has upper limit. If enough of your people collapse, you cannot just have the luxury of like, oh, what if somebody else is like, you can only do that once. Like New York went cuckoo, and with Chinese black money washing and all the criminal money washing, again, they did it, but now the businesses are living. You literally had the very first, I think, Starbucks now just closed just a few days ago. So they are already reaching that point where stagnation has already begun. It's like people can't afford to live there. You don't have control over crime, and bad things will begin. So, and again, we thought we should have learned this from 2008. And again, China also went through this cocaine where it's like, houses, price go up. It's like price cannot go up beyond a certain point if people can't afford it. If people wages limit how high a house price can be. It's like, you can't pay down a loan where it's like 100% of your income goes into the house. You just can't. You need food to live. And everybody got stuck in that scenario. And again, how bad it is, right? There is a whole point of Western propaganda. What do you know? Go to China. Yes, I do have people there. Figure out how many banks, regional banks, smaller regional banks used to be there before the housing crisis, how many there are today. The number is surprisingly small. Like, they used to be this much, now only this much. So fundamentally, housing crisis, somehow we are always falling for the same thing. It's like nothing has infinite value. So, And what about other people, controlling people, elderly people who are in that steering wheel kind of situation? They are too older to care, meaning they simply do not give a damn. They're like, oh, well, you people are so complaining. It's like, dude, we are dying, and you're like, complaining. I have seen Indian politicians talking things that I'm like, are you serious? Like, you are actual threat to this country. But that then I looked into Joe Biden as like, so fundamentally, once you have broken family, like once every billionaire is like on the second wife or third wife, family does not matter. They personally matter. Their family is no longer there. They're no longer, they have the like, okay, Henry Ford is going to build a company so he can like, lay it down to for someone else for next generation. There is no next generation anymore. There's just like me. So legacy becomes an afterthought. So nobody gives a damn. It's like, oh, I built this company, this is awesome, and now it's a corporate greed has taken over. Now I'm creating another company. Again, right now in the early phases, it's awesome, it's my passion and all that. Then it's gonna become that corporate hellhole, and then I'm gonna jump to another things. It's like there is no legacy. It's like anymore. And lie of overpopulation. Oh my god, that's like, I'm not gonna explain it too further. But if you actually believe in overpopulation, you really need to study human history. And for like only last 2000 years, not even 2000. Like we every time is like, oh, Earth cannot support 1 billion people, we crossed it. Earth cannot support 2 billion people, we crossed it. Earth cannot support 3 billion people. Like how much can we support? Technically infinite, and mathematically speaking, a few trillion. That's how much thermodynamical capacity Earth has. And with farming, inefficiency, stupidity, all of that, 50 billion is minor inconvenience. And by the time, again, if Earth was working naturally, we should have figured out space colonization by now. And then we're like, bruh, hundreds of trillion, who gives a damn? And again, India went through this. We were like, at time of independence, India cannot feed itself. Now we are feeding that India's worth of people outside of our country. That's after 1.5 billion people. So, but again, we lied to children in the school for years, and now this has become permanent. So now we have this sort of graph. Now this graph shows birth per woman, and that number must be above 2.1. Otherwise, you dead. You die. That invert pyramid happens. Tick, 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 you die. So below 2.1, you're dead. All these blue countries, they are dead. But because of the lies of overpopulation, we actually think that's a good thing. That's why the map makers are like, okay, this is blue, this is cool, this is awesome. No, you're dead. All the red part, they are the part that can survive a hellhole of the future. They have enough children to actually have an economic where this is not happening. Everything else is already dead. In case of India, there are literally two cultures inside India, Hindu and Muslim. Muslim are good, Hindus are dead. We are already below 2.1, and there are only 3 states in India, UP, MP, and Jharkhand. UP, MP, Bihar, Jharkhand, that are like basically have the population. Otherwise, we already went poofed. And again, there are children alive that are in this phase. They are here already. We are ahead of schedule. From 1984, 30 years should reach us here. 30 years from that point should reach us here. We are supposed to be here, but many people have already reached here. And then this last phase. And again, that's another aspect. It's like, oh, fewer people, less problem. No, fewer problems, extreme problems. We've been there. We crossed this threshold. More people equal more mass production, equal more problem solving. If you do not have enough people, you cannot pay for anything. This will happen. And this also creates a scenario where it's like, world is barreling towards what we call a reset. Again, Japan can do this sort of stupidity, they will die. South Korea can do this stupidity, they will die. India can do this stupidity, they will die. Like nature is like what we say, survival of the fittest is actually death of the idiot. So those idiots who did this, they will die. Poof, 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 all the blue countries, poof, gone. They will become Muslim countries over time. So mathematically, that's what I'm saying, like check the maths, it's done. It's all, and this is from 2020. Right now, it's even worse. So we are reaching, like the world is moving towards what we call hard reset. However, there is a tiny problem. Our modern world cannot be reset. Like you cannot reset it anymore. All the infrastructure, all these things, they cannot be like, now fewer people can maintain it. No, it takes hundreds of people just to manage a sewage network. And if you do not have hundreds of people for sewage network, you no longer have a sewage network. It's not like partially working. It's not working. That's why I said like population cannot go here, like this does not work. And again, all the loans, all the long-term bonds, asset, all of them disappear. There is no mass production. If cars prices have come down, why did it come down? Because of mass production. If you do not have mass production, it becomes artisanal product. Nobody can afford it. So, and another aspect is from a global warming point of view, Earth is in a fragile state. If humanity as a whole does not try to fix it, there is a tiny probability that Earth can go into what we call a spiral situation or cascade failure, meaning if we have enough of permafrost melting and starting to rot, releasing enough methane, it could create a cascade failure where Earth will start its journey from Earth to Venus very quickly. And that will be the final name. That will be this. We just hope that does not happen. So we are in the inverted pyramid. That's why everybody is so hopeless, so hurt at this point in time. We destroyed family unit and the idiots became ultra idiots and they're like, line must go up. It's like, sir, let the line go. Let the line go. So this was my presentation on who owns anything at this point in time. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.